gentlemen, are you ready?
Next exercise is okay. Giving the shipping table and your customers table. I want to add customer name in here. So I want everything from my shipping table. I want to know which customer name is that. Okay. So for example, 2 is there, pending is there, and shipping ID is 1, but customer ID 2 is Robert Luna. So Robert Luna, whatever order they have placed, it is pending. I want one more column added in here or at the end, whatever you decide. I want these 4 columns, these 3 columns, plus your first name and last name, both. So 5 columns total. Okay. How should we write this query? Understood, right? I want these 3 columns plus 2 more columns from another table, which is first name and last name from customers table. All right. What should I write? Select from customers. Okay, then. Okay, as the good practice, as because you know if you are joining, you always write aliases. Then inner join. Okay, let's do inner join only. Shippings. Okay, good. As S on C dot customer ID. C dot means customer table, right? So customer table has customer ID. Okay. Then is equal to S dot customers. Customers. Let's see this. I don't know. Customer only, right? Not S. I'll remove this. That means it will join both of them tables together. Then inside select what? C dot first name, C dot last name, then S dot star. Very nice. Right? So you have first name and last name, whether their order is pending or delivered also. Here. Okay. All good. Now let's do it one more tricky part. Let's say I want first name and last name, which is fine. I want which item they have bought, and I want to know whether the status is pending or delivered, which is 2 columns from the customer table, 1 column from the orders table, which is item, 1 column from the shipping table, which is status. Okay. What you should be writing. So I'll let it be like this. Okay. From customers as C. If you want to bring item, then what you should be writing? So in here, the customer table, you are getting this customer table. Now you want item column also added in here, right? What you should do? Join, right? Inner join. Because if you want to bring information from table 2 to your table 1, join is the only thing which you can do. Okay. Inner join. You just did join, right? We just brought first name and last name to the shipping table. Now I want item to be coming here, right? And inner join does not matter whether you are writing customer first or whatever, right? So inner join orders, okay. As O then on C dot customer ID, right? Not directly C dot customer ID. O dot customer ID. Okay. And then you want item, which is O dot item. If you just run this part, you are getting first name, last name, and which is the item which they have bought. Okay. But now you want status also, right? Now join is the only thing which you can do multiple times in one query. Okay. If you have written select, you cannot write select again. If you have written from, you cannot write from again. But join is one thing which you can write again also. So after join, again one more join can also come. Okay. After this, again you can say inner join. So whatever is the result of this table, which is this. Now I want to add status also. Okay. How would I add status? Because this is the table and I want to add status from another table. That means again join I need to do, right? So inner join, shippings this time. SS on. In this case, either C dot customer is also fine, O dot customer ID is also fine. Because in this case, both of them are same only, right? So on, I'll just use C dot customer ID because easier is equal to S dot customer. Okay. And then I want to add finally one thing, which is S dot status. Right? If I run this, now you have status also in here. Right? In your companies, you could be joining 20 joins also. That is absolutely fine. There are 20 tables which you want to bring information into one table. You have to do 20 joins. Okay. This is something which you should be very comfortable with. It's nothing complicated, right? Inner join, which column you are joining. Again, inner join, which column you are joining. And now which column you want to show in the final result. Okay. Now let's say if I ask you this question, so my question is, who is that customer who has bought mouse pad? Okay, your answer is Robert Luna, right? So now I want your SQL to give me that answer. Robert Luna, only Robert Luna, nothing else. Okay, what you should be doing now. Got it, right? So when I asked you this question, who has bought mouse pad? You looked at this mouse pad and then you saw like customer ID 2 is there, and then you went to customer ID in here, and then Robert Luna is here, right? Robert Luna is the only answer, nothing else. So your SQL also should give me Robert Luna only. What you should write in order to get only those two column, one row, right? One column will have Robert, one column will have Luna, only one row. Okay. By the way, before we write it, I mean, are there any new people who are joining today? Okay. So there are like 3 classes which we have already done from Monday to Wednesday, right? If you have not, if you don't know what is join, then this might be a little bit tricky for you to understand what is happening in here. Okay. So you would have to go and watch the recordings. Okay. Every day we are recording the sessions and the link remains same. You can ask the link from any one of these guys. They will provide you the link. Okay. So what should I be doing? So I want to write a query. The result of that should only be Robert Luna. Only this part should come up. Right now, all these things are coming, right? Only this. Only the customer who has bought mousepad. What do you think we should be doing? Think. We have already done these 2 things. So if we are focusing only on joins, do not just only focus only on joins, right? Think about the things which you already discussed. Right? From, join, where, select. All of them also you can use now, right? Not only joins. It's not like if you are using joins, only joins you can use. You can use joins and where both of them together. Okay. What you should do first? First, you should join these 2 tables in order to bring item from this table to this table. Right? You have to understand that, okay, which customer is buying which item. And then after you understood that, then you remove all the other rows which do not have mousepad. Okay. and how you will remove any specific row or filter any rows with the use of your where clause. Okay, so let's see this. What we should be doing first, from customers as C. Again, inner join only, let's do it. Inner join orders as O on C dot customer ID is equal to O dot customer ID, right? Then you use where clause. I mean, you can write directly select also, but again, after from join comes, after join where comes, and then your select comes, right? So I will be writing it in that order only. What do you write in your where clause? Where O dot item is equal to mousepad, correct? Because you're only wanting the mousepad. What is the thing which you will select in your select? C dot first name and C dot last name. That's it. If I run this, only this is the answer which I wanted, probably, right? So have a habit of thinking in this term, right? What is join doing? What will join will help you do, right? And then what is the thing which where will help you do? So if you think it in that term, then only you can like do this. Where is only to filter out rows. Join is to bring information from another table. Only these two things we have learned until now. Okay. By the way, I don't know if I told you this part yet. If I say select star from customers, and if I write one more, select star from orders, right? I can write multiple queries also, and we will be writing multiple queries throughout our course. If I run it directly, it will throw error. Why? Because after select from can come, but after from select cannot come, right? And SQL is not smart enough to understand that this is something different, this is something different. If I run this, you see error near select. Which select? The second one. Because if I remove this one, it is running fine. Only when I keep this, then only it is giving error. Because error near select means just before this, there is some error. Why? Because after from select cannot come. Okay. So how to tell SQL that this is a different piece, this is a different piece, you will write a semicolon in here. Semicolon means this has ended here. This query has ended here, and the next query is starting here. You can keep one more semicolon in here also, but you can skip it also because there is nothing else beneath this, right? But it's a good practice to always put a semicolon after every query which has ended. If I run this, now you're asking two questions, customers also, orders also. That means you should get two answers also, right? If I run this, you're getting this one answer of customers table. If I go down, it is asking you, it is giving you second also, which is orders table also. Okay. If you run two queries, two output will also be there. Okay. All right. So today's new topic for today will be group by. So joins is done, right? At least the basics part. We'll come back again on the intermediary part, how to write queries, all those things afterwards. So you have to always write with your on condition, right? And generally you should write aliases also. Group by. Okay. The group by and having are the two things which will require a little bit effort from your side also, because before getting to the answer, or I mean, you before writing, you have to visualize your answer. Okay, that is something which is there. And unless until you visualize what you want, you will not be able to write it. In your join, your where clause, you are just writing it directly. You're not exactly visualizing what your answer will be there, right? In your group by, you have to actually see the answer before you write it. So let's see what does group by means first. Okay. So if let's say this is the table which you have, your manager comes to you and he asks you this question, give me the list of each country and how many customers are there in that country. In short, for each country, how many customers are there? Right? This is the table which he has given you. He also wants answer in the form of table that for each country, how many customers are there? So what is that which you will provide? Okay. What is the answer which you will give to him? USA 2, UK 2, UAE 1, right? So finally, you have this table. You will be giving answer like this, right? You will create one column which is country. USA will come only once, not twice, right? USA is happening today. USA, UK, UAE. And you will also say count something like this, right? Or number count, whatever column name which you want to give, 2, 2, and 1. You will provide this as an answer to your manager, right? There is nothing I taught you, right? I just asked you this question and you only gave me this answer, right? And this is your group by. Okay. And we'll see how to write it. But your group by, what you're doing, you're making groups. Even if USA was coming 100 times in here, you would have written USA here only once. And then you have written 100 here, right? But you're writing USA only once in here. That means all the different USAs which are there, you grouped it into one single USA. All the different UKs, you grouped it into one single UK. All the different UAs, you grouped it into single one UAE. Okay. This is known as a grouping column, a column which you are grouping. This column will always be available in your data already. So this is a country column. You can change the name, okay, countries or whatever, right? But this column was already available. That USA, UK, and UAE. This column is this one. So this is a grouping column, group. Okay. The next column which you create is known as an aggregated column, aggregation column. Okay. Now there are different types of aggregation which are there. One is count. So you automatically did count, right? I did not tell you to do count. You automatically did count USA 2, UK 2, UAE 1. There is sum, there is average, there is minimum, there is maximum, median, mode, standard deviation, variance. There are multiple other things also mathematically, but these are the commonly ones which are used. Okay. You use count this time. What you did, you counted. USA is coming 1 and 1, 2, 1 and 1, 2, and 1. Okay. This is your group by. Let me ask you one more question. Given only this table, again, if your manager comes and he asks you for each customer ID, how much amount they are spending in total. Okay. Each customer, how much amount he is spending in total. What you will say? One first customer ID spending 400, second customer ID spending 250, third customer ID spending 12,000, fourth customer ID spending 700, right? I did not tell you to sum it up, but you automatically did sum this time. So your answer will be in this case will be customer ID will be here and total, let's say. Now customer ID was already there in this column, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I just write 1, 2, 3, 4. And total, so this is the grouping column and this is the aggregation column. In this aggregation column, what you are doing? You are using sum, not doing count. You are not doing count, right? 1 is 1. If you were doing count, the answer will be 1, 1, 1, and 2. Because 1 is coming only once, 2 is coming only once, 3 is coming only once, 4 is coming twice. But now you're doing sum, or you can name it as total, sum, any column name which you want. It is 400, 250, 400, 250, 12,000, and this is 700. 400 plus 300 you did automatically, and then you are using sum in this case. Okay. If I would have told you average, then what would have been the difference in here? That means not for each customer ID, what is the average amount they are spending. But the difference would have been one will still be 400 because only divided by one. It is still 250. It is still 12,000. This will become 350 in this case, right? That will be the average in this case. But it is you who is deciding which is the aggregation which I want to apply. If I use minimum, then this would have become 300, not 250. 250 is from the whole table, but for customer ID 4, what is the minimum? 300, right? For this group, what is the minimum? For this group, what is the minimum? For maximum, this would have become 400. In this case, there's no change because minimum and maximum both are same. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if we can write these two things. The whole point is if you have to visualize this first, these two things. If you know what is the thing which you want in the final answer, then only you can write it out. Okay. Basically, I don't know if I have that example. I think the same examples will be here also. You see, this is the table, and you want to convert it into this table. That main table is getting converted into this table, and that is only with the help of your group by. You're not removing any rows. Removing rows will happen with your where. You're not adding any information from your another table. That will happen only in your join, right? Group by is transforming that table or making groups. That is one. Again, this is the table, and you want to do this. The 4 is 700. That is your sum. Okay. Let's see how to write it out now. Group by takes column or columns also is also there. So you can either write one column or you can write multiple columns. We will write multiple columns in your intermediary class, but not here. We'll only write one column for now. So we'll start writing and we'll see the first question first, right? This part in here. For each country, how many customers are there? Okay. So select from customers. There's no need for giving alias now because it is just group by. I'm not doing any join. After from, I can do join, but I'm not doing any join. After join, I can do where clause also. I'm not doing any where clause also. Then I'm doing group by. Okay. And group by takes column name. Which column name? The column which you want to do groupings on. So which is this column, which you want to make groups. So from where this column is coming from? Country column, right? Which is here, country. Okay. So group by country. Now, for now, just understand the rule is whatever you write in your group by, you also copy and then paste it in your select also. Why? Because in the final result also you want country column, right? In the final, you want country column as a result. Right? So you have to write it in your select because select will say what all columns you need. Country. Until here, everything is fine. Nothing complicated. Whatever you write in your group by, you put it in your select also. Then you want to create a new column of this count, or which is known as an aggregation column. Right? So you have these things out there. You can either write count, minimum, maximum, average, or sum. Right? So I know in this case, it makes sense to count something. I want to count. So I can just say count. But what is the thing which you want to count? Okay. Because in the previous example, what is the how I'm getting total, which is the sum, which is the column which I was doing sum, amount column I was doing sum. In this count, which is the column I'm counting, country column in this case, right? Or customers also is fine. The thing about count is you can write any column. And that is why this is slightly different. So count is slightly different than your minimum, average, maximum, or sum. How? Because you're saying how many times USA is coming, how many times UK is coming, how many times UAE is coming. That is also fine. In USA, how many customers are there? In UK, how many customers are there? In UAE, how many customers are there? Same thing. In USA, how many first names are there? Two. In UK, how many first names are there? Two. In UAE, how many first names are there? One. You can basically write any column name inside your count. You can write country also. You can write age also in here. You can write first name also in here. All of them will give the same answer. And because you can write anything, you technically most of the time you write star, right? Because otherwise people just get confused. There is a slight difference between writing star and your column name. We'll cover that in your intermediate class, but almost everything is same. You write star, that means count any column. Just count the number of rows. How many rows are there for each country? Okay. And that's it. If I run this, I have UAE 1, UK 2, USA 2. What if I mean, this might not seem good, right? Count star is a column name. If you want to change the column name, then what we should do? Aliases, right? As whatever, right? Let's say CNT or whatever, count, whatever, right? And if I run it now you have CNT as a column name. Okay. So slightly tricky because you just have to understand the result first, right? Can we do the same thing with the other part? No. Can you guys tell me how to get this now? Okay. Let's remove everything. Select from customers orders table, right? I want for each customer ID, how much is the amount? So from orders, group by, okay. Then group by amount. What do you think? What is the grouping column in here? See, that is the only trick, right? Only here you will face some problem. In the starting only, after some time, I mean, you will not get it. Which is the grouping column in here? Customer ID is the grouping column, right? In here, country was the grouping column. So that's why group by country we wrote. Okay. In here, group by customer ID. Customer ID. Then what we should do? Select what? Select customer ID, because whatever, as soon as you have a habit, as soon as you write group by something, you copy and then paste it blindly in your select. Okay. 99% of the time that will be correct. Okay. And I'll tell you in 1% cases what will be that thing. Then what? Then sum. Okay. And this is open brackets, close brackets, saying sum of which column you want to do, right? Basically, sum of which column? Amount. In this case, you cannot write anything else also. Okay. In this case, I cannot write sum of item. So keyboard plus mouse does not make any sense. Okay. So sum of amount. And star also will not give you anything. It is not counting them, summing any rows. Sum of amount. Okay. If I run this, I'm getting 1 400, 4 is 700. That is the one which I wanted. Only thing is this column name does not seem good. So I will just write as total, right? Something like this is totally fine. Okay. If you put average in here, that will become 350. If I put minimum, this will become 300. If I put maximum, this will become 400. Got it? Okay, let's do one last thing. I mean, this data set is not that there are only three tables in here, only like few rows. We cannot practice much. But again, if I ask you this question, how many orders are pending and how many orders are delivered? If this is the question which your manager is asking, how would you reply back? How many orders are pending? How many orders are delivered? Okay. What should we write? Select from from shippings. Then group by. Okay. Group by what? Group by what? Status, right? How many orders are pending? That means pendings are 3, delivered are 2, right? So group by column is your status. Good. At least you got this one. Group by status. Then select status. Correct. Then count and count what? Count star, because have a habit whenever you write count, almost all the time we write count star. Only few cases are there which we don't write as CNT or count or whatever column name which you can provide. How many rows do you think it will have? 2 rows. How many columns it will have? 2 columns, 2 rows, right? Correct. 2 columns, 2 rows, delivered 2, pending 3. Right? Okay. Nice. That is one thing. There is also one more thing on your group by is if you don't write group by, right? Now this will be an error because you're saying status and then you're doing count. So that does not make any sense. If you don't write group by, you cannot write anything here also. But you can write aggregations directly here. What does this mean? If you don't write group by and you write aggregations directly, your whole table will be changed into a single number. And if it is count, you're saying count star. That means count number of rows. So count star in this case will mean 5 rows. If I run this, I have 5 in my answer. Right? Just a second. Oh. Okay, count. So the whole table got transformed into a single number, right? If I say sum of amount as total, what do you think will happen in this case if I run it? Sorry. Sum of amount from shippings is also there. Is amount column is there in shippings? No, right? So obviously it will throw error. Error will be that the ship amount column is not available, right? Something like no such column amount. Unless and until you say this is your orders table, right? What will happen now? Sum of amount means the whole column will get summed up 400 plus 300 plus 12,000 plus 400 plus 250, and only one number will be given to you, which is I'm not good at maths, but I'm good at SQL, so 13,350. Okay. Again, if you do average, then this 13,350 divided by 5 will be your answer. Minimum 250, maximum 12,000, right? But only one number will be there in this case. What else you can do in your group by is you write comma and then you write one more aggregation. That is also fine. You can write multiple aggregations also. So I can write sum of amount as total, average of amount as, let's say, average, right? Now two columns will be created, but only one row. One will say the total, one will say the average. So if I run this, one is total 13,350, one is average, which is this divided by 5 number of rows, right? And I can put one more minimum, maximum, all these things I can keep on putting there. Okay. So this is fine. What if I write group by, and let's say if I do for customers table, group by country again. Obviously this won't work, but yeah, this country here. If I run only this part, right, what do you think will happen? So it will run fine still. It will just not create any aggregation column. It will still create the grouping column, right? So if I run this, how many rows do you think you will have? 3 rows, right? So you will have UAE, UK, and USA. You still have 3 rows in here, right? Basically, group by is just removing the duplicates and keeping all the groups together, right? All the unique ones are together. If there were 100 UAE, only one UAE will be there after group by. And that is fine, but we have already seen this type of scenario, right? If I write distinct, check distinct country from customer, what do you think? How many rows you will have in this case? Still three, right? USA, UK, UAE, still. Even if I write group by or even if I write distinct, the same thing happening, right? Does that mean that the group by is of no use? No. Group by is used if you want to do some kind of aggregation also. If you just want to remove duplicates, please use only distinct, right? If you want to group together and do some aggregation also, that means after this, now I cannot do count. This will be an error because I can only do count with some column if I have group by. Either I use only count, this is fine. If I want to see for every country what is the count, that only group by can do. Okay, this, or if I only want to remove duplicates, either I write distinct country or I write group by country like this. That also will remove the duplicates. Okay, either one of them you can use it, right? So understood where your group by will come into picture. Generally, people will write group by only when they want to use some aggregation also after that. Okay, some kind of aggregation if it is required. Which comes us to one of the memes also which goes around. Let's see if I can find it out quickly. Which movie is this? Three Idiots, right? Okay, good. So there was this scene where this professor says that your son will not pass because he has done this and this thing, right? I don't know how many of you know Hindi, but the movie was in Hindi, right? So I know against like against Kannada and all those things. But इस साल आपका बेटा graduate नहीं होगा. This year your son will not graduate. Why? एक ही SQL में group by और distinct दोनों साथ में use कर रहा है. That means in the same SQL query, he is using distinct and group by together, right? Which does not make sense because if you use group by and distinct together, you will not get any error. But group by is also removing duplicates, and again distinct again is removing duplicates. So you are doing the same thing again. So if the query should take 5 minutes, your query will take 10 minutes, right? And in your company's queries might take 2 to 3 hours also. And if you do the same, just one word in here, it will take more time. One more extra hour you will have to wait for your query to complete, right? So if you, there is never a case where you will use group by and distinct together in a single query. Okay, so don't use that. Even if the interviewers tell you to do that, you just say that this is not a good practice. All right. With this, your group by is done. I am hoping that this is totally fine. We'll do lots of questions, but right now I'm just building some basics out there for you. So we have some time. I think 10 minutes is there. I think we can do having still. Having, the third interview question which might come for you is what is the difference between where and having? Okay. I'll try this. So it is conditions. Okay. I think, by the way, order by and limit will only take, like, let's say around 10 to 15 minutes to learn. So maybe tomorrow only we can start installing our software also. Okay. So tomorrow, everyone bring your laptop. Without laptop, I don't know what you will do. Throughout the course, now you have to bring the laptop. Every day we'll be doing something on that thing on the laptop. So tomorrow we'll install our software, right? What is having? So having also takes conditions, but where also takes conditions, right? So what is the difference between where and having? The main difference, actually, you should be able to tell 3 to 4 differences, but the main difference should be told very first, right? The main difference, or the first difference between your where and having, is on the working, on how they work, right? So what does where do? If I ask you this question, what does where do? Where filter out the records, right? Depending on what does it filters, right? So where filter out the records or rows, where filter out the rows based on the condition. Having filter out the groups. Okay, it's not removing the rows now, it is removing the groups now, or it is filtering out the groups. What do I mean by that? So again, if I remove this, I'll put orders. If I ask you this question in here, uh, give me all the rows which has amount greater than 500. How many rows do you have? You will have one, right? How would you get that? Where amount is greater than 500, which is that customer ID, 3 customer ID. Third customer ID is the customer ID who has bought more than 500, right? But is it actually the case? But because if I ask you this question in a slightly different way, right? Give me all the customers who have spent more than 500. Who are the customer who have spent more than 500? One has spent 400, so this is not the one. Two has spent 250, that is not the one. Three has spent 12,000, so this is the one. Four has spent 500 or more than 500, right? He has spent 700, right? But you will only get 700 once you group them together. Once you do 400 plus 300, right? If you go row by row, then it is your where clause. You are going row by row and checking this is not more than 400, 500. I'll remove it. I'll remove this. I'll keep this. I'll remove this. I'll remove this. True, false, true, false, true, false, all these things, right? But if I ask you to group together and then remove something, then your having will come into picture. So if I tell you, instead of where, I'll write group by customer ID. I'll copy this, paste it in here, right? And I'll also do, because it is grouping, I can do sum of amount as total, right? If I run only this part, I have 1, 400, 2, 250, 3, 12,000, 4 is 700. Now, if you want to remove any rows from this, then you will use your having. Okay, because after writing group by, I cannot use where now. Where can only come after from and before your group by. Once you have written group by, you cannot write where. So this anyways, you cannot write where. But now if you want to remove anything from this table, then you will use having. Having, there is no having by, having. And what is the condition now? Condition is total should be greater than 700 or 500. So you might think you will write something like this, total is greater than 500. The problem here is most of the people will write it like this, and most of the time it will give you error. The reason being, what is the order of execution in this case? What is happening? First is from, then what will run? Group by, then what will run? After group by select will run, or what? After group by having will run. Okay. And then as soon as having is running, it is saying total. But total, you are creating it in your select. That means it will be created after having. The having cannot use total here, right? But having can use sum of amount, because sum of amount is how total was created. You can write it like this. And almost every time having will have the conditions, but it will be an aggregated condition. Okay, you will not have direct like this. Amount is written. No, this will throw error, right? You always will have aggregated conditions in here, which is like this. Okay, count of something is greater, sum of something is greater, average of something, minimum or something, maximum of something, something like this. You will write it in your having. You cannot write total directly because according to the order of execution, after from group by will run, after group by having will run, right? And having should have the columns which are there in the original table because in your select, we are creating total and we cannot use that one. Okay. That is why order of execution is important. Okay. You might make mistakes otherwise. Now, if I run this, what will happen? The first two rows will remove. Only the last two rows will be kept. Run it, and you have 3 and 4 customer IDs in here. So after grouping, if you want to remove any rows, then you will use having. And if you want to remove any rows before groupings, that is your where. Okay, that is the main difference. So it's not like after or before. You should say the working of where is where filter out the rows, having filter out the groups. Because what it has done, it has filter out the group of 1 and 2, right? It has only kept 3 and 4 group, right? So where filter out the rows, having filter out the groups based on the conditions. Second difference is, I mean, the small differences which are there, which you can tell it afterward. But the second difference is having will always take aggregated conditions, where will always take normal conditions. So you cannot write like this. In where you cannot write where sum of amount. This you cannot write it like this. This will be a error. In your where you cannot have aggregated conditions. In your having, you always will have aggregated conditions in here. Okay, so I'll remove where. That is the second difference. The third difference is where comes before your group by, having comes after group by. Fourth difference is you can write where independently without writing any group by and all those things, right? But if you want to write having, you will have to write group by first. So having will always come with your group by. If you don't write group by, you cannot write having. Okay. Four differences. The first difference is the main difference. I think if you tell that, they won't ask any other differences because the working is the main difference. Got it? Let's say if I give you this question now, give me the list of all the countries where you have more than one customer. Okay, what is the answer by the way? USA and UK. Okay, again, you already know, but you just have to write it in your SQL now. Okay, so give me the list of all the countries which has more than one customer. What you should write now? From customers, okay. From customers, by okay. Country, okay. Country in select. As soon as you write, you know you have to write it in your select also. Then having, okay, having count, okay. Count of. So like I said, whenever you write count, better is just say count star. You can write country also, count of country also, that is also fine. But star is better. Is greater than 1. That's it. If you want, you can put count star in your select also to know how many customers are there for each country. But I just wanted the list of countries, which is UK and USA, right? If you put this aggregation also, then that will just give you that column, right? That it had 2 customer, this also had 2 customers. Okay, easy, right? People have very difficulty in understanding what is having, but I think this is the best which I can do at least. We will be having lots of questions, but this data set is not big enough to get all these questions. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so this having is conditions, but you will always have aggregations in here. Okay, we'll discuss about order limit tomorrow. It's very, I mean, order by and limit are the easiest parts in here. So we'll take 20 minutes to cover it and then we'll install the software tomorrow. Okay, any questions in any one of these topics until now? We can discuss that. Otherwise, we can just close it for the day. Any questions online?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Then let's stop sharing.